That's for sure right now. Anyway, look, thank you to the guys from Blackburn FC. Again, every time I say it again and again, it sounds like I don't mean it, but I'm always impressed by how much everybody is doing, and especially in some quite difficult conversations that they're having around about segregation, around about race, and about how communities come together. It's not an easy thing to do. So, yeah, hats off to them. I'm sure it was the same in some of the other sessions that were going on today for Nijmegen and Vitesse too. Anyway, we're almost at the end. We have one last session for you from our friends from Inter Milan, or Internazionale. I'm never quite sure which one it is. Which one is it? Inter Milan. New brand. All right, okay. So here they are. So I'd like you to introduce you to Yuri and Stefano.
I thought the music was only for you, Kaj. Instead. Okay, but nonetheless. Good morning, buongiorno, as we say.
Boa tarde. Buenas tardes.
Then thank you for being here, and we have the, let's say, social responsibility to close the conference. We hope you'll stay with us. You had a big cup of coffee. Would have better been an espresso next time, but still, we will keep it short, go straight to the point, and of course, if you have questions during the presentation or at the end, we will be more than happy to answer. We've been discussing a lot yesterday and today about measuring and evaluation, and this will be the topic of our presentation. We were upstairs with Lynn discussing who is trying to give an evaluation of the activity we are running. I would like to ask also here if you guys are trying to do so, or maybe you are doing so. Is it something that you are like dealing with in your companies, in your clubs? Yeah? Okay. So this is also the purpose of the presentation we are going to have. And we are going through what Intercampus is doing very quickly. But then moving to how can we measure and evaluate maybe the impact of our activity. As probably most of you know, we are dealing with a very specific mission, which refers to children, young people, and we try to give them back the right to play. So we are really focused on one objective, let's say. And yes, here you have some numbers of the project. We work with a lot of local partners all around the world in 30 countries. So while we are here, I don't know, in Cambodia or in Uganda, they are running the activities with us and for us. And yes, we have a lot of coaches because our project is really related to the pitch. And of course, we involve a lot of kids. You see the number we registered during the pandemic year, so normally it is slightly bigger. We are around to the 10,000, but this is the last figure we registered, and is, of course, every year, so continuity is also part of the project. But actually, this was the way we were used to present Intercampus, and this is basically, we can consider the product of our activity, the numbers I've shown you. We are trying to move ahead after listening to your presentations, also after participating. I don't know who was here, there in Paris at the EFDN conference. We have attended a very inspiring to me presentation of a lady from SAP, Gabrielle, and they are really fond of data collecting. They measure everything, but she was struggling with evaluating, especially evaluating the impact of such an intangible activity as those we are used to do. So we're trying to move from the output, for example, the number of hours kids train, or the number of kids we involve, which, of course, it is interesting, and it will be part of the reporting and the way we will tell our project to people, to the outcomes. So maybe words that we have heard yesterday and today. And this was a big change for us. We are in the process, so we are also here to learn and to receive your feedbacks. The reason why we decided to do so, of course, was to have a better understanding of what we were doing. Again, this morning, we discussed about the fact that very often we are really into the job, into the activity, but we don't know if what we are doing is proper, is related to the needs. Sometimes we assume that because we are running a social activity, then it's fine, then it's correct. But maybe this is not correct for the target we are involving. So this was the opportunity to maybe slow down a bit and listen to children and to actual needs. Of course, it was a way to evaluate our activity internally and see how can we improve, or maybe how football can be more efficient in some areas rather than the others. And then we also spoke about, Hubert explained us the possibility of participating to grants and applications and so on. External partners are requiring more and more to have the proof of an outcome, so a result that has been achieved. It's much better to say we have changed this kid's life in this way rather than saying we have involved 1,000 kids. Okay, but who cares if you don't change in some way his life? Okay. So while changing this perspective, we have to take into consideration also other aspects. The output is more related with the input, like the time we spend or the money the club is investing, while with the outcomes you have to consider the objective you have. Then again, we discussed internally and decided to really split our objectives, then to go and evaluate. It's like motivation. You are not motivated in general terms, you are motivated towards something. Okay. As I was telling you before, our, let's say, general objective, in the sense that it is all over the world, in all our projects, is giving back children the right to play, in the sense that we use the game of football, which is a game, as a language to open the dialogue with the children and to help them improve their conditions, so to improve their personality. This, I can tell you, is the main objective of Intercampus. Of course, here maybe the overall objective of clubs and federations participating to EFDN is make the world a better place to live in, could be another objective. Then we have specific objectives according to the realities that are hosting us, that are welcoming us. And we have tried to resume them in 3 main groups: deviances, especially in South America, I would say, Central and South America, related to drugs, consumptions, and alcohol. Inclusion, we've discussed a lot during this conference of the several types of inclusions we can deal with. And of course, education. The precondition, if children want to participate in Intercampus, is going to school. So we want to evaluate, in this case, if they actually improve, like, their grades. It's not enough they are there and sit and listen, but they have somehow to improve their results. So we started from the output, and then we came with the outcome. In the middle, of course, you start with the needs that very often are supposed, but this was the opportunity also to investigate the actual needs of a place, of a country, thanks to the local partners. Then the objectives. Input. In the middle, you have the activity, of course, like we do the clinics, we go in the places, we pass a methodology that we have developed, and then local coaches help us in running the activity, so the training sessions and so on. But now we are more focused on the outcome, so which is the result. And an important difference is that with the output, we are measuring something, while with the outcomes, we are evaluating. And then we have divided our objectives. Again, you find them in the second part of the slide. And we had identified also some instruments to evaluate these objectives. With respect to the right to play and the development of children's personality, we decided to use scientific protocols, which could be easier because you just find them. There are a lot. They are standard. And also you can compare. I've put them, two of them. The SENA one is very popular, especially in Latin America. It's validated. Or the RSCA, which is more on resiliency and life skills. What we are going to talk today instead is the second part, the last part of the slide, which is the specific objectives, and is something that we've built together with the university. And it is really like tailor-made on our necessities. So we built with the university, asking them help in how to structure, okay, the analysis. Of course, we were not able to investigate these aspects in all the 10,000 kids, so we decided we had the need to focus on samples, but we wanted to respect the diversity we have in terms of geography, in terms of different social needs, in terms of gender. So we had mapped our activities, and we've tried to identify those countries that could better represent without losing any kind of information. These are the parameters that we had considered. Of course, it's not the same if you want to analyze maybe the impact of our activity with respect to inclusion, if you are in Bosnia-Herzegovina or if you are in Israel and Palestine. Or we will see violence in different countries of Latin America, or maybe countries that luckily they don't experience violence. To do this, we've used 3 tools. The first one, which is maybe the most popular while dealing with the evaluation, is questionnaires. They are easy to be administrated. They are very quick. They don't need any psychologist to be there, so it was maybe me and Yuri were handing them out to the kids, and we were able to do hundreds and thousands of questionnaires. Maybe the work was done at back with the university before going and visiting the kids. Questionnaires, to me, I'm not like a professional of statistics, so questionnaires, they give me the impression I have more data in my hands, because very often they are associated with numbers, and you can standardize, and you have a lot of data, then you feel more confident you are detecting something. While dealing with social activities, of course, require also a certain level of interaction. So interviews and focus group were also added, and they were an essential part, because otherwise you lose the human contact, you lose the opinions. And they also had a certain level of flexibility, while instead in the questionnaire you have the questions that are printed, you cannot change. While instead during a focus group, of course, you can adapt to the situation. And also in the interview, which was not fixed, was semi-structured interview. So you, according to the answers you receive, according to also the feeling and the emotion of the other person, you can change throughout the interview.
Thank you. So this is our map, our world. As Stefano said, we are in 30 countries in the world. And when we start the study, we had to decide when we can do this study. So there were two reasons. The first one was the distribution of the countries. So we would like to embrace almost all our intercampus world. And the second reason was the goal. So for example, we as Stefano said, our main aim is to give back the right to play to children. But for example, it's very different from Mexico to Cambodia or to Colombia and Bosnia-Herzegovina. So we decided to start the study in 6 different countries that are Mexico, Colombia, Angola, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Cambodia, and Israel and Palestine. Let's go deeper to every country. So in Angola, we work with more or less 500 children, and we work in schools. So our target is school attendance, to improve the school attendance, and also working on gender equality, because it's not yet very equal. We are almost all around Angola, and we had to do 3 visits to complete the study. When I say study, I mean questionnaire, focus group, and interviews. This is Bosnia-Herzegovina. I've been in all of those 6 countries, and as you can see, war finished 25 years ago in Bosnia-Herzegovina, and in Sarajevo there are still signs of that war. There are signs of bullets on the buildings. And in Bosnia-Herzegovina, we work in Sarajevo and in Domanovici. Domanovici is a small village on the border between Bosnia-Herzegovina and Croatia. So our children stay in one school, but the school is divided. The first floor is Croatian, and the second floor is Bosnian. So basically, they have different timetables, they have different programs. With intercampus, we can let them play together. And for them, it was something really unique, because they never met each other. In Cambodia, we work 70 kilometers away from the capital, that is Phnom Penh. And I had the honor to be the first time in Cambodia when we started the project. And it was quite funny, because when we start to do trainings on the pitch, we put the ball and we say, okay, let's play. And they keep the ball and they play volleyball. And we were like, wait, what we can do now? Because football is not very popular in Cambodia. So we started from the very beginning explaining the rules of football. That for us, for you also, it's very weird, because it's the most popular sport in our country. And after 6 years that we ran the project, that center, that school, became one of the most important centers of football in Cambodia. It was quite something very important for us. And also, there is one very important statistic. I think that is the unique country where the female ratio is more than the male ratio. So when we work at school, we try to involve all the students. So this is a very important way also to work on gender equality, and you can see also in the picture where there are some Buddhists away, just curious during our activity. In Colombia, we work around Cali, so in Cauca and Valle de Cauca regions. And also in Colombia, we try to collaborate with some schools, but especially we try to keep away our children from substance abuse, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, because there are some really dangerous places where narcos are very active. So sometimes they come and they stay close to our children and they try to use them to do something that they want to do. So also the pitches are not safe. So one of the main thing that we understand is that also the pitches are not safe, so they would like to find some other pitches to be more safety. This is a very dangerous situation. And here we have maybe to improve, Stefano, the male and female ratio, because there are few females that are playing, talking also about what you said yesterday during the conference. We are working on that, even if we try to involve everyone that wants to play, so maybe it's cultural reason as well. Then in Mexico, they are not our players, they are our partners. They are Marcellina nuns, and we cooperate with them because they are a real, a very important institution, so they can play safe in a pitch. Otherwise, Mexico, as Colombia, is a very dangerous place. We work in Ecatepec barrio, that is one barrio that in all South and Center, North and South America, where there is the highest ratio of feminicide. So we try to involve also girls in our trainings. And the last, but not the least, is Israel and Palestine. Let's say this is one of our most challenging projects. Maybe we are just put a drop in this very, very difficult contest, but at least we are doing something. This is Ramallah wall. I had the honor to play a football match inside Ramallah. And it's not easy, of course, because you have to be careful of everything. You have to take care of everything, how you speak with the coaches, with the family, with the children. But I think that it's a very, very important project for us because we involve Palestine children, Israel children, Arab people that live in Israel, they are Israeli, but they are Arab, and also some refugees that live near Jerusalem and Tel Aviv.
Yes, this is just to recap a bit. So we have identified our objectives, and we decided to work with samples. But as Yuri told you, our realities are really different one to the other. So it was not the same to analyze the situation of Cambodia, where maybe they don't need any improvement in terms of integration, rather than being in Israel and Palestine. So we had developed different questionnaires, different interviews, and we set up different focus groups that were run by a psychologist, which is a colleague of us, with the help of an institution, a university. We were discussing this morning to which extent you need an external partner officially to officially help you in a scientific way. It maybe could be or could not, depending on how much you want to go deep into the data analysis. Okay, and yes, we've tried to evaluate the outcome, and to do so, of course, when we talk about the impact, you normally try to evaluate a change. Okay, so starting from a certain level of maybe of integration, then you want to see how much this level has improved or has decreased. We did so asking directly to people. So this is in technical terms, like in the questionnaire, the questions were, how much do you feel, and we will see them in a while, how much do you feel this item has improved? So we just did one evaluation. Okay, we didn't do like T0 and T1. But this, yes, was effective. We asked very often direct questions, apart from Israel and Palestine, because we have discussed with our local partner and they said it was not appropriate for their culture.
And it wasn't easy because usually we go twice per year in every country, so more or less 60 travels every year, before COVID, of course. And while we were doing that, we wanted also to do our normal activity, so train the trainers, train the children, so it was quite challenging as well. This is focus group, as Stefano was explaining.
Yes. Don't imagine like special situation. Most of the time they are very simple moments. Like this was a class in Angola, okay? So the important, of course, is the content.
And as I said, Angola is linked to school. So one of the question, a big question, was how these school-related aspects have changed since you started attending intercampus. So when you started intercampus, does the schools aspect improve or not? And we think that after all, the data are clear, and it means that if you improve that same, and you can see the decrease is really low. So we can say that intercampus is helping also these school aspects.
Of course, the questionnaire was made of several questions. We've just picked up one per country, which we identified as a good representation of the item we were investigating.
The main target of every country. So, for example, in Bosnia and Herzegovina, the main target is cultural, religious integration. So one big question was, since you started attending intercampus, your relations with Croatian and Bosnian children have improved or not? And it seems that it's almost improved for everyone, even if we have the suspect that here maybe coaches just led the children aware of what we were doing. We always explain to the children what we were doing, but it's a very delicate aspect, so maybe they were kind of influenced by what we were doing, because 91% in that contest, maybe it's not like that, but at least we can say that the project was important. One important thing during the focus group and the interview is what this mother said, that there was her son should go to the school, and there were two different coaches, and they have to choose between the Croatian and Bosnian bus. The Croatian take 1 hour and a half, and the Bosnian take 45 minutes. And at the end, they choose to go with the Bosnian friends, so they take less time. And it was because they knew each other thanks to intercampus. Otherwise, they would have never choose this kind of bus. So it's not only questionnaire that is important, but also interview and focus group, because you can understand from real words, from storytelling what's going on. And in Cambodia, that we are linked to the school, like in Angola, we can say almost the same of Angola, because the big question is the same. Maybe the statistics are a little bit low, but still intercampus is helping school attendance. In Colombia and Mexico, the main target is to keep the children away from violence and drugs, and we were asking via questionnaires if intercampus is helping you, and we think that 56% and 34%, so it means more or less 90% we are helping, even if we can help maybe more, that it's not easy, because while you are doing intercampus is not direct linked to keep away from drugs, substance abuse. But one thing that happened when we were in Colombia together is that we saw in real time that there were children that mark, I use drugs, I drink alcohol. So in a very difficult way, we understand who was the child, and then we couldn't do something for them, as the participant of focus group said. He could manage to help 2 out of 3 children that had this kind of problem. So it was also useful because we did something in real time.
And yes, questionnaires are anonymous. So, of course, our interest was evaluating a general situation. But what Yuri said is really important, because we were there and we helped them filling in the questionnaire, and even not knowing maybe the names, but we were able maybe to detect the most dangerous situations. While instead, focus groups and interviews, they have been run with educators, coaches, families. So they gave us the perspective of adults. And this was very, very important. In this case, the coach, which is quite like straight to the point, but gives you the idea. He said, we had 3 children really involved in drugs, and we are speaking of children, intercampus age range is 6 to 13. So they are very, very young. And he said, we had 3 involved in drugs, and 2 we were able to help. So from one side, we can be very happy for the 2. From the other side, he was also telling us 1 is still involved. So we have to do even more, trying to.
Yeah. Then Israel and Palestine. So there were no direct questions, but the big question is if the relations between among Israel and Palestine children improve. It seems that not like Bosnia-Herzegovina, that they were like 91%, but in Israel it seems that it's working anyway. And as I said, it's really difficult, the project in Israel and Palestine, but those kind of questionnaires really tell us that we are doing something. So we have to continue, we have to improve, we have to do it better. And also the testimony of B is that she saw that they really improve between each other, the relationship. That is not easy because maybe they never met each other apart from intercampus project. In Mexico, the target was like Colombia. And we can see that there are some difference in the statistics. Maybe Mexico is a little bit more forward than Colombia, and we think that is because of the coaches and the place where we train. Because in Mexico we collaborate with an important university that gives us the pitch where we can do the trainings. Otherwise, they have to do the trainings outside, and it's very, very dangerous. Because maybe someone can arrive and, I want to play, so maybe there is something outside, it's very dangerous. And also coaches are in the project have been in the project for a long time, more than Colombia, that usually they are like people that we find in the little village. In Mexico, there are coaches that study physical education or study as a coach, so maybe this is the main reason, because
yes, especially drugs was different.
Exactly, yes.
Here is 67 and 67 other substances, while in Colombia it's 56. So it is a relevant difference. Mm-hmm. Even if we are running similar activities. So this is something intrinsic of the country. Yes, and coming a bit to the end, so to some preliminary results. By the way, we haven't presented yet this research we did. We will be doing so in less than a month. Here was just a glance of what we did, and some takeouts we can share with you. Was for us, again, the first time we did it in a very scientific and structured way, but we know we can improve, and we want to share with you some maybe clues. For example, among the strengths, probably we have the family relationship, so the possibility to and the capability to involve families. So while dealing with children, their caregivers are really, really important. And also the message you are passing has to be consistent. with what they receive maybe as input at home or at school or by the local coaches.
We started to work with family 3 years ago because we found out that it's very important to involve the family. They have to know what is intercampus, where the children are going. So we started also to meet the families, to do something with them, to explain what is the project, and we think that is a very important factor that we have to go. Right?
Among the weaknesses, discontinuity, for example, is due to the fact that local coaches, they sometimes have other opportunities to work, so they quit. And because we have a methodology we share when we go there, sometimes we have to start again with the methodology, and we cannot achieve a level of continuity that may allow us to be more effective and with respect to our objectives.
Yes, maybe it's not okay for the project, but for them, for example, in Angola, one of our coaches now is coaching the federation. So for him and for us, it's something that is really important. Maybe for the project, we have to find another coach. We have to restart our clinic, our formation. So it's not that easy. But for them, or for example, in Paraguay, one of our coaches was one child of the project. So we are giving him maybe something in the future, an opportunity.
Also, gender representation, as Yuri was saying, we are involving about 30% of girls, and we want to improve this number. Of course, not pushing anyone to play if they don't want. Probably in many countries it's also a cultural issue, but we want to, of course, incentivize this aspect. Strategic partnerships among the opportunities, and we are here for this, and I think EFDN is a great opportunity. So local partners and parents and local educators, they ask for building partnerships. This is really essential. We cannot do this alone, maybe with local institutions, maybe with small NGOs, but this helps to be really closer to children's needs. Yes, then we have threats. We may like change a bit the activity according to rural areas or urban situations, and yes, we can improve in this sense. We can always do better, but we are happy to have concluded this period that lasted 2 years. And this is the first time we share a bit of the numbers that we collected. We're super happy that this was the occasion. And Yuri said correctly before, I would like to stress before leaving you to your travel home, that apart from collecting data and evaluations that we want to do, we have to do, and we like, this must be in function of the children in our case, in the function of the target you are trying to help. So if you detect a problem, a dangerous situation, like in some questionnaires there was the point, do you like your life? Do you feel you want to die? Okay, if kids, they put a very high grade in that answer, apart from the statistics that we are all interested in, we can and we have to do something, okay? This is, I think, the most important thing, not to lose the focus, because again, as before we were really focused on doing things, that not change and be focused on doing statistics, but try to keep like an open mind on reality. I mean, this is exactly my point. Thank you.
Thank you for your attention.